Hello my friends, Russell Wright, networkempire.com, and I've also shared these videos with the Director's Cut and OMG community. Please do see Why RSS Part 1 and Why RSS Part 2 videos, where I explain the difference between content, traffic, and domain authority, page authority, traffic flow, or I'm sorry, trust flow. And of course, this image that you're seeing before me is one that we all worked on together and drew in real time, so that you could understand the difference between content broadcasting and PBEnds. And not that one is right and one is wrong or one is better than the other. They just have they serve different purposes, and they have different lifespans in different situations. And that's the main functionality I'm wanting you to understand here. And so I've come back because this actually created some questions. You probably also remember in video 1 where I talked about the difference between OneFeed Supercharger and Social Explosion, with Social Explosion being on this side, which is a service and plugin with a license that we offer, and OneFeed Supercharger being on this side. It's kind of long, so. And the confusion was OneFeed Supercharger just designed only to enhance and support Social Explosion? And the answer to that was no. OneFeed Supercharger has multiple purposes, and if you watch the previous video, you'll understand. It can be a replacement to Yahoo Pipes. It can be an addition to Yahoo Pipes. It can be used to syndicate content to locations where human beings will read your content and click your short links. It can be used to syndicate to a variety of different secret and more SEO-oriented locations, such as RSS directories and beyond, where you get the backlink juice, which increases your page authority, domain authority, and your overall authority of your network. It can be used to simply create a feed that you want to use on your own to pull complete and entire content pages onto your blogs. Those are advanced methods where people normally blow themselves up, and we have advanced training for that. So all of these things can be used. OneFeed Supercharger is like the Swiss Army knife of RSS, and it's only as powerful as your knowledge. Social Explosion is a plug and play for people who are lazy. I don't know how else to really say it. And so the questions that came up when I drew Social Explosion and why it's different really doesn't have that much to do with RSS feed, except that we added an RSS feed in. So we're going to start over with Social Explosion, because we did get some questions back from the other 2 previous videos. And one of those questions was, what does Social Explosion have to do with RSS? And really nothing. So if this is the Social Explosion plugin inside your blog area, it's like your WordPress blog, there's a location where you're able to put in your RSS feed. Okay, and I can go over to one of my my Social Explosion account. I can go to account settings, and you will see that right here there is a RSS URL. Now, people have asked us for multiple RSS ins, and I've got my team that I speak to pretty much every couple hours right here on Slack chat that we use to talk to our developers. We are constantly updating. This is only the first couple of versions of Social Explosion, and we are moving towards a full enterprise application. What I explained in video 1 and 2 is that you can put any RSS feed that you wish in here, but you have to come up with the RSS feed. Okay, and so what you put in there, you need to be careful, because it's going to drive, as I showed you in this other diagram, it's going to drive domain authority. Remember, the purpose is that whatever RSS feeds, okay, let's just go ahead and say that you choose, let's just play with some thought experiments. If you put an RSS feed, say, promoted blog.com, let's say this is the /feed. For whatever reason, you might want to promote this blog. That's entirely up to you. The presumption is you know what blog is worth promoting, but this is your target. The target is going to be, if you're using Social Explosion, the target is going to be for 2 things to use Social Explosion. Okay? Let's just make sure that we know what we're talking about, and we're going to call it social, just so we know what we're doing. What's a little bit weird about our feed technology, which we're looking at right there, is that you can actually promote any blog. So you could have it installed in one blog, but be promoting another. Okay. So if you do not use the feed and you're just using these items here, low, low, and you're enabling all of these items, go, then it's only going to promote the blog that we're on. For instance, this is my Social Explosion blog, Network Empire News. Hopefully you can see that, Network Empire News. Okay, so if I don't use this feed, and there's nothing in here right now, so it would never promote anything outside of this blog, then that's not going to send, it's only going to send traffic signals to networkempirenews.com. So what people had a difficult time understanding, what makes this very, very, very different than almost anything else out there, is that we already have tens of thousands of social accounts owned by real people, and I will tell you that they are of different qualities. Okay, we have varying qualities as we are in the first two versions of this application, moving more and more. So we have a variety of, we have a level 1 through 5 accounts, 5 being completely indexed, owned by real people who are willing to post your links, all the way down to level 2, which are Twitter accounts that need to be indexed by us, that don't even necessarily have profiles or pictures. So we have the whole gamut, the whole scale when it comes to Twitter. But we have very, very high quality accounts overall. And as more and more people have wanted to use this, so what we have is what happens is when you publish your blog post, when that publish button gets pressed in your blog, it can be pressed by an auto blogging software. Okay, we should probably put this in red, since hopefully you guys remember red means, in my repertoire, red equals content. Content equals red. Let's go ahead and draw our diagrams. And this does help keep, I have to be talked to sometimes like I'm a 5-year-old or 10-year-old, and that's why color coding legends for me are really helpful. And then DA, domain authority, page authority equals green. It helps you keep really things straight because they're transparencies. We're not designed to think, that's why rapid visualization and concept maps are so important, because our brain is not really designed to think in terms of multiple dimensions very easily. And you got 3 dimensions here. You guys are multidimensional now by doing this. So when you click hopefully in WordPress, when the publish button goes on for a post only, we do not publish pages at this time. We are moving in that direction. As soon as you do that, it talks to our API. Okay, and then it goes out to our massive number of Twitter community, Pinterest. If you have images, and only if you have images, it's going to go out to a massive number of these. And there's really not a footprint to these. Some of these are private, some of these are ours. And one of the reasons that we don't give you the results at this time until we come up with an enterprise version is because we're keeping the network and protecting both the owners of the accounts as well as our private accounts connected and private for your functionality, for your promotion. So if you go to Delicious, and then we also have Digo. Let me put Digo over here, even though this line is here. Okay. So it's the same thing. We've got to just pretend this is like 10,000 accounts each. Okay, all of them are part of what we call the Network Empire Social Signal Exchange Network. And I must tell you that this was expensive to build. It's not something I would necessarily ever do again, but I'm glad that the OMG Network Empire community has access to it. It's probably something I would keep private in the future, which is why we open and close our doors with it. So Twitter, Pinterest, Delicious, and I think that's pretty much everybody. Now we have more coming. Probably Tumblr in the future. I can't give you a date on that, and Google Plus is one of the harder ones to make happen. Okay, we have to build up our community in order to do that. But what you really want from these, the whole purpose for you, is that whatever site you're promoting, whether it's your main site or a promoted site, you're going to get from these accounts domain authority. This is why you'll find so many of our testimonials coming. You're getting all these testimonials, you're getting all these domain authority boosts to your general domain, at the post level in your site, since it works with posts, right? So if you put the feed in here, you're boosting the site. If you put YouTube videos in this feed, again, we're going to just go, if you were to use the RSS function, this is what's confused some people. You can have that, if you're going to use this RSS feed only, then you can literally load Social Explosion anywhere. Okay, it could be, you could take their YouTube RSS feed, like we talk about in our office hours. It could be YouTube. But you have to ask yourself a real question if you're going to use your YouTube RSS. By the way, that's not the actual URL. But if you put your YouTube RSS, you're going to get backlink signals to your YouTube videos, because the links that go through in the RSS, is that what you really want to do? Do you want to juice up your YouTube videos with social? Some people do. That's not for us to say. That's part of a larger strategy that we need to talk about. It's part of a much larger strategy, and that's why you got to learn strategies. If you're doing content broadcasting, you're going to do one thing. If you're going to do, if you're using PBEnds, which I'm going to go over here in a second, you're going to do it another way. You should follow Greg Morrison and Jimmy's instructions on that. Okay, so my point here is to show you within the realm of the 3 dimensions what is actually going on here. Okay, you're going to get all this juice from these locations. Now, in order to make this happen, we have to index. Actually, Jimmy Kelley and Sue designed an index system. Now we have thousands of customers that have come on, so now it takes us a little while to get these things indexed. So we actually take all of the accounts that we have and we make sure that they get indexed, and we have a proprietary technology that allows us to make sure that these backlinks, but it can take anywhere between 15 to 30 or even 90 days to index some of these social backlinks. But the useful thing is that these are not accounts that you own. These are not accounts, although we do have a functionality right here for you to put in your own if you wish. You can go to Twitter settings, you can enable it, and then you can put your own in. We do offer one of your own personal accounts at the same time. We kind of thought, what the heck, you may want to have one of your own accounts in there, while at the same time you're posting to this network. Okay, so that's really how it works. Is your post publishes to these accounts through Social Explosion. Remember, red is to publish, and then what you get is the juice coming back, all without having to set up these accounts. That is the social network Empire Social Signal Exchange Network. People that are part of that community have submitted their accounts. We will be moving more and more towards creating a network exchange, an exchange of social accounts that's promotional, that you can join at some point in the future. And then we have accounts from various other locations that we promote to. So this is very different than services like OnlyWire and Social Adder and the rest, where you need to set up your own accounts, similar to what we do allow you to do, one in Social Explosion. We offer one each. For me, this is kind of a distraction, because it's just, this would actually be part of that little section there would be more part of your WR1 layer. In other words, you could go ahead and syndicate automatically with that red arrow to one of the accounts that you have. Okay, that's nice, but that's not with the real power of the Social Explosion. You don't really need a subscription. I don't believe you need a subscription to use those. I'd have to double check on that. But to me, that's not really what I focus on. It's a nice plus, but the real value is up here. It's automatic syndication. So right here, when this is enabled, depending upon what you have with your social calculator, this is going to publish through this gigantic network of sites. Okay, it's going to get indexed over the course of weeks, and you should definitely see an increase of DA to your overall domain. Okay. We also have ways of checking to confirm where your schedules have been posted. Other people have figured out ways on their own to determine what has been syndicated and what has been posted. This is only the first couple of versions of Social Explosion. This thing is becoming a beast and becoming very powerful. Just remember, if you use the RSS feed and it's not part of the site, it's going to promote whatever blog or feed that you put in it. You could even put a feed if a social platform, such as your Pinterest account, has social feeds. You could run your social feeds and juice up the backlinks to a social account. I personally would be very cautious unless you have a big budget to do stuff like that, to go 3 tiers deep, because these social accounts are safe for your WR1 and your WR2, and they're also safe for PBEnds, which takes me to the next point. Probably you remember that we discussed this. We had PBEnds here, we had a broadcasting here. One is really about your target SEO silo site, your money site, okay, and any sites in your branded network, and maybe your social accounts connected to that. That's all we're going to talk about. We have more rings in our advanced systems. Then we have the PBN model, which really doesn't fit in our rig system. Why? Because the PBN is mostly about gaming gaming rankings. So this is all about this is what Greg and Jimmy teach. So here's the site you're trying to get ranked. Okay. Here's the search engine results page. Google SERP. Here's the top listings that give you traffic through the search engines. And then here's your keyword. Okay. Well, whether you're ranked for a keyword on the search engines or money keyword is largely dependent upon domain authority and theming. Okay. So where is it safe to use social explosion? Well, a lot of the things that are happening with private blog networks, if you take a private blog, they don't generate any traffic to your site almost ever. If they do, it's very little. The real purpose of PBEnds, say private blogs of expired domains that you may have purchased, all completely separate. You don't want any kind of connection between the two. No link wheeling, no interconnectivity, no A records that are the same, no anything, just complete disparation. It's got to be disparate. That's part of hiding the footprint. Okay? The algorithmic footprint is something that doesn't need to be there. Okay, footprints are bad because it can get your sites de-indexed and can render the money you spent on your expired domains obsolete and useless. And that's not good. Well, one of the solutions that we utilize in the ever-expanding repertoire is social explosion. So one of the models that we teach is to continue to publish, put something like Video Kraken on here and, publish a video every couple of days so that you have proof of life. Proof of life is static blogs are not doing that well. And yet PBEnds are just basically about ranking, about passing plenty of link juice directly or indirectly to your money site so that its keyword can rank on the big G for domain authority. It's also about passing juice of various kinds, and in many cases multiple locations juice, by purchasing private blogs that already have DA, by purchasing expired domains that actually have DNA. And this is why it's such a big deal. Is there so much gaming happening in this? If you don't follow Greg Morrison's instruction or Jimmy's instruction or Sue's instruction on how to buy expired domains, it can show up as this, but as soon as you buy it, the backlinks disappear that didn't really have juice, or you find it's really got a lot of crappy things from. There are so many ways to spoof PBEnds and private domains that the idea that beginners would do that concerns me, because you have to be under excellent guidance, which you are in our community. But somebody out there in the world just trying to do that is kind of a nightmare. Proof of life and frequency of publish is the same thing. Frequency of publish you can think about as the red arrow. Again, content. So you want to, one of the ways that we've taught is to enhance your PBN by occasionally publishing a post or a video, like through Video Kraken, so that you start pinging. Because remember, you can still take RSS feeds on a PBN and syndicate it through RSS directories. I don't know if Greg is teaching that, but you can. Okay, and there's all kinds of things you can do. But more importantly, what I'm trying to get across here is that social explosion, the whole network of sites that we showed, is universal. Okay. The purpose of social explosion is through a myriad of these social accounts. Let's just go ahead and make a bunch of dots. As silly as this seems, I think it'll get the point across. Doesn't really, social signals are entirely safe. They're not GSA, they're not magic submitter, they're not SAPE links, they're not Empire backlinks or an SC nuke. What they're going to do is you're going to get both traffic. Okay, here's your PBEnds. It's safe for PBEnds, and it's safe for your money site directly. You're not going to get any penalization by using social explosion ever, because all the traffic and domain authority is coming through link shorteners that have a huge domain authority. The link shorteners that we use, which I've expressed before, are bit.ly, Google link shortener. We use t.co, I think. We've got several others. Much more. Okay, and all of these have a high DA. Bitly is probably the least high DA. Okay, but more importantly, they're going to be pointing to, so whether you use them for your money site or for PBEnds that are not connected in any way to your web rings or to your broadcasting, what I'm calling your content broadcasting brand. Okay, remember we talked about that before? Social explosion is safe for all of those because this is your money site, your WR1. Content goes out, right? And from those same sites that they go to, those safe sites, DA comes in and traffic comes in from those sites. Well, from social explosion, especially as we continue to evolve, in the same lines that you have DA coming in, you're probably also going to be getting traffic on some of these accounts. Some of the accounts are really high domain authority. Other ones not so much. Some of them have traffic, high traffic, some of them don't. But you should be getting one or the other from every account, both domain authority and traffic. As we enhance in the next version, our results are getting better and better. Our prices are going to go up, not on the subscription, but for the plugin. And those of you guys who are in are grandfathered in at that old plugin price. So the point of social explosion is to have domain authority and traffic coming in at various degrees. And you can use that either on PBEnds or you can use that on your money sites with no problem whatsoever. I cannot imagine. This is not the same as tiered stacking dubious domains through GSA. Social explosion is not the same method. That's why we built it, because even a beginner can use it and could even buy the big package and not blow themselves up. Okay? And again, that's very different than things like OnlyWire or Sind or Syndicate or all these others where you have to create your own accounts. To my knowledge, there may be other accounts out there that they've already prepared accounts like this and they're managing hundreds of volunteer accounts and these types of things. But you can run them either to a PBN or to a money site and you're going to be sustainable. Because Google smiles upon social traffic. Okay? So first of all, they smile upon social content and they smile upon social traffic. Did you know that when you run traffic to your site, that can actually, if you're on the front page of Google, you can increase your rankings by 2 to 4 positions just because you have more traffic from social accounts than the websites on the same search engine results page. I bet you didn't know that. I've tested that time and time again. It's kind of quiet knowledge, but it works. If you are number 7 on the search engine, you can get to number 8 or 9, number 6 or 5, simply by getting more social traffic. Again, that's why we built Social Explosion, to make sure that that's happening on autopilot so that you can spend time working on your business and writing content and producing, operating your business rather than trying to figure out all this SEO. So Social Explosion is this philosopher's stone that we're dumping tens of thousands of dollars in, and it's going to be getting better and better. That being said, I get this question a lot, if I have PBEnds Okay, let's do this. Hopefully you can see through this. If I have PBEnds out here not connected to my main empire, I would have a social explosion license I would do license number 1, and I would do a social explosion license number 2 for my main empire. There's 2 reasons for that. The reporting inside your main empire all blends together. So if your client ever logs into their back end, they're going to see your PBN links and your main empire, your empire links, your PBN links, all mixed up on the same report. Okay? That is bad. You don't want that. You don't want these things all mixed together. So for that, we're building an enterprise platform. Okay, we call this SE Enterprise. And that's coming in the summer, we hope. Hopefully early summer, if not, it'll be a bit later, where you can separate all these accounts. Okay, and you can manage multiple licenses. But I would give each one its own license number 1, license number 2. I would keep them very separate so they're not mixed up. And I would get a subscription number 1, subscription number 2, and if I had other empires and other clients, I would get additional subscriptions to keep everybody separate until we have a enterprise login for all this to manage. It's extremely expensive and time-consuming to build that when we're building other things. So in the meantime, definitely keep your PBN license separate from your main empire license. Okay? It's just the best way to go. And you'll find as you begin to get more and more technical, as your business begins to operate at a highly technical level, that the more you keep your apples in the apples bin, your oranges in the oranges bin, even it costs a little bit more, it is better to do that. It was hard for us to design something that would allow you to segregate that out from the beginning. So phase 1 and phase 2 of Social Explosion is going to have this license. This is the consumer version. Okay. And now we have, for some heavy duty developers, they're going to work on Social Explosion Enterprise. Okay? But in the meantime, you need to continue doing things that way. And don't mix apples and apples, oranges and oranges. You don't want your clients seeing other clients' sites in the reporting, because you can install your license on multiple blogs. Okay? But that's weird. Just because you can install it on multiple blogs doesn't mean you want to. If multiple blogs means client A and B get all mixed together, they're going to show up in the same report. You don't want that. Now, I'm sorry we don't have the solution for that, but you're going to have to purchase more licenses if you want to keep those separate, just because it was very difficult to code that separation in the beginning. Okay? That's why we're building this. So all of that being said, the Social Explosion RSS feed adds a new element where now you can blow yourself up and expend a lot of tokens by automatically sending this giant social signal exchange, domain authority, and traffic, in some cases, depending upon how much traffic there is running to those specific accounts that we're using for you. Just be careful what you put in your RSS feeds inside Social Explosion, again, back here, because let's go back up to the account setting. If you put an RSS feed from a location in here that's not your primary site, you could spend a lot of money juicing it up, especially if you submit 100 at a time. And again, I said in video 2, if I were to submit, for instance, let's go ahead and look at Network Empire News as a for instance. Actually, that's installed in Network Empire to use. If I was to take one of my secondary networks, like, let me see, if I was to take something like curationempire.com, which is just a secondary site out there in internet land, publishes in the ballpark of 100 posts per day, and I was to want to put that through the feed, you can see there's a lot of, I have to think carefully, like, why would I want to do that? Well, I've been trained by Network Empire, by Sue Bell, Jimmy Kelley, Matt Cruz, where we've got a long strategy that all of us have invented for years and years. So if I were to put this into my Social Explosion account, what's going to happen? Look at how many there are. I've got this particular blog set to 100. That's a lot of feed, right? Okay, so let me give you an example. If I take that and I go to the Social Explosion calculator, and I go, how many posts am I going to go per month? Okay, well that feed is going to be pulled. I'm going to put this on low just because I'm a cheapskate. I'm not really, but I'm trying to give you an hour. Every 23 to 25 hours for 2 to 4 days, around 300 promotions in 30 days. That's what it's going to give me. Okay, for all of these. Now, if I wanted to be a cheapskate, I could leave like Pinterest off if I had no images. But it's telling me already that I need the $97 a month package at the very minimum, just for that one feed. In other words, this one feed, just this feed, because it's got 100 links, as soon as I pull that in there, if I go like this, that's going to chew up almost 1 month's worth of credits. Okay, so I need to start thinking about what's going on here. Why do I want to juice up Curation Empire? This is why we talk about different layers of our onion in our content broadcasting network. Do I really want to spend that money to juice up that site? Well, I have plenty of money. I could do that. But maybe I want to install this Social Explosion on here. Okay, does this belong to a different client? Well, this happens to belong to me. So it's easy when all the accounts of your sites are your own because you know what you're spending. I, for instance, like to use Social Explosion. I would install it separately on here. And I would just buy a really super huge package because I have like maybe 10 websites that I'm juicing up all at the same time. And I might just go to the large package. I actually have several large packages rolling, the automatic PinVid full, because that's a PinVid site. I've got like 10 of these running every month. 10 automatic PinVid sites. Now I realize that's not on everybody's budgets. In fact, that's, if you're not a large business really successful online, that might be a whole lot for you. Or you might only use it for 1 month to boost up a lot of stuff and increase your DA. If, however, you're just starting out, the one-man band package is just fine for you to get a handle on all this and do it for several months. What you'll see is that our backlinking machine and all the things that we're doing to get these indexed, okay, all the proprietary indexing content systems that we have in place to get those systems indexed for you, you're going to start to see results over 30 to 90 days. Okay, and ongoing, the echo effect that will happen over time is your site will start to get a lot of social signals. You'll see those starting to happen. Okay, so that gives you a little bit of an idea about how all that operates and how I think about those things. So be careful with your RSS feeds. When in doubt, keep things one-to-one. Another thing people like to do is, instead of doing a third-party site, they might put a YouTube video in here, and then you're just spending all your tokens to promote the YouTube platform. Not necessarily a bad idea if you want to get some social signals to your YouTube videos so that they get traffic. That may or may not be a strategy that you use. I personally don't use that strategy. Not that it's bad. I would just rather have my own site with videos embedded on it get promoted, because then I have the juice going to my own golden frame. So that's one way. Another thing that people do is they want to promote pages on this site. So at that point, you can go to OneFeedSupercharger.com and you can look at the way that I teach you how to create pages. Some sites allow you to create some blog installs allow you to create pages with, just an RSS feed on the site. And then there's some third-party services that Greg Morrison and myself have shown you, just quick and simple ways that you can turn the pages on your blog into RSS feeds. So that's another way that you might want to use this. Also, people use the OneFeed Supercharger in conjunction with this because the OneFeed Supercharger allows you to create sticky at top. So for instance, if I wanted to, let's go ahead and go in here and edit this. Here's my YouTube channel. You can see I have actually created 50 posts are on that. But if I wanted to, I could take a post that I really want to promote, and I could stick it right at the top. Or I can splice multiple feeds together. And by doing that, let me just update this, that webinar replay SEO silo will remain at the top because most RSS feeds roll. Okay, let's go look at all these feeds here. Let's go ahead and hopefully this will work. So here's the feed, and now you can see that the thing that I put sticky at top should be there, I'm hoping. And the reason for that is when you submit it to the directories or Social Explosion or anything, it doesn't even really matter. Webinar replay, this is the one. That's actually an incredibly handy function because one of the biggest pain in the butts of feeds is that they were designed to churn. Okay, in other words, what normally would happen is this would be gone, and as soon as another blog is posted on Network Empire News, then this would be gone, this would move down, and then the next one would be here. Well, we created a function in OneFeed Supercharger that this is always here. Why? Well, because we can then juice it up. So if you want to leave this here and you run through all the RSS directories, like all the things that you've seen forever, this RSS feed, wherever it is submitted, will always be there. Okay, and what that allows you to do is know for certain that when you take that feed through Social Explosion, if I were to go over to Social Explosion, you know for sure that that page or post is going to get promoted. Another thing I like about that is when your feed is borrowed and you go to the directories, you already know the post that you care the most about or the page that you care the most about is going to get promoted through whatever means. That's also cool when somebody steals your content. See RSS video 2. If somebody's stealing your content with post to RSS or RSS aggregators or with content theft RSS automation, then that is going to get stolen and borrowed and probably a link back to your site. Okay, that has its pros and cons, and it's not necessarily a simple equation, but there's many, many reasons why you would want to have a post sticky at the top. Okay, another reason might be if you're using OnlyWire or any other kind of account that allows you to promote. Sticky at top allows you to be RSS. Another thing is if you were juicing up this particular XML page using advanced methods that Jimmy teaches, if we were to be promoting this particular URL, this XML URL, then this link is not going to go away. Because what will happen normally is if you've got a lot of posts happening, eventually all these posts on this page will go away. They'll go somewhere to die because there's only like 150 to 100 on a page. And so actually when I publish a new post, if this is set to only have 50, then this one will be gone eventually. And we'll no longer get the juice on this page even if the juice is high. Okay, so you want to, sticky at top is a very functional and important tool for a OneFeed Supercharger. Okay, and you can't do that with Yahoo Pipes. There is no sticky at top on Yahoo Pipes. Okay, fantastic. So I've given you guys a crash course. I didn't count on doing that, but I wanted you to understand how it actually works because go back and look at RSS part 1 and RSS part 2, and then watch this one, RSS part 3, i.e. Social Explosion. Okay, RSS and Social Explosion. And you'll be able to understand that all these systems work together and that you're getting a crash course that's about 5 to 7 years compendium of SEO, traffic, and content distribution knowledge. You now understand also on top of all that, because you have OMG, Director's Cut, PBM knowledge, private blog network knowledge, which is controversial and yet still very active and useful. You know right where it belongs in all of this. You know what is and is not connected to the systems that we teach. PBEnds are awesome. They are just not part of content syndication because the content is primarily for rankings. And once you understand that, disconnect is good. You can use disconnect to your advantage because disconnect is all about making sure that your PBEnds and your empire strategies stay disconnected so that there's no footprint. Everything that we teach, when you combine the work that we've done at Network Empire with Greg Morrison's amazing work and with Jimmy, you have the most powerful SEO content and broadcasting system in the world. You've got everything that you need to deal with content, automatic and semi-automatic traffic, and domain authority, page authority. There's just so many things that you'll be able to manipulate and dominate that it's not even funny. And that's why we teach it the way that we do. Russell Wright from Network Empire. It's been good talking to everybody, both in the OMG community and in my community. We look forward to seeing you on the inside.